Why are women hardwired to melt down a relationship, to sabotage a relationship? Everything that attracted them to you as a man, from my experience, once you get in a relationship, those are the things that they want to change about you.
You know that I always say there's two sides of attraction, spark and safety. Spark is anything that makes a woman desire you, right? Feel emotionally spiked. So sense of humor, good looks, dressing well, charisma, etc. Safety is anything that makes a woman feel like safe, comfortable, and like cared for. So emotional intelligence, kindness, financial stability.
Men are clueless. Men are clueless because, A, we want to be clueless. We need to maintain this level of ignorance. I did a video on that. A guy was literally saying you got to play dumb and all this stuff. And I think that um, what ends up happening is that men actually end up being dumb by trying to play dumb. And it's willful ignorance being exercised, right? But the way the men constantly try to act like they don't understand what women are saying or why women are getting upset or why, the dynamics that exist in the relationships, how they clearly express and articulate and show a disconnect between men and women. And then the women will tell you exactly what the disconnect is, and the men still try to act like they don't know, like we just don't understand. It's sad. It's sad and it's frustrating.
Why are women hardwired to melt down a relationship, to sabotage a relationship? Everything that attracted them to you as a man, from my experience, once you get in a relationship, those are the things that they want to change about you. Why did you want to be with me if I had all these characteristics and all these traits when we first met? But now those are the things you want to change? But you wouldn't have been attracted to me in the first place if I wasn't doing those things.
The most attractive thing a woman finds in a man is competency. But a competent man is a dangerous man. When a woman gets with a very competent man, she starts to feel insecure because she's like, oh, he could get other options. There might be a better girl than me out there. And so their instincts kick in to try and neuter the man. It makes sense because women are going to raise children and they're going to be very vulnerable when they do that. So they do what's called nesting at homes. As soon as they start getting into that feminine space, they started creating a home and decorations and getting ready for the baby and all those types of things. But they try to nest their man. All the things are making him powerful. All the things are about it. Him going to the gym, him hanging out with his buddies, him spending time at work. All of these things that are making him attractive to begin with are now threats. She's going to be like, I don't like it when you go to the gym so much. And I don't like that guy. I don't like it when you hang out with him. And as guys, we have this innate conditioning from society and all this programming that our job is to sacrifice for our woman. And so we think if she sees me sacrificing for her, she'll recognize how much I love her and she'll love me back. And the second you start doing that is the second she stops respecting you and she stops being attracted to you. You're not competent anymore.
Wow. Wow. The delusion in that clip was crazy. Let's take it back. I want to go back to the beginning because I wanted you guys to hear it in its totality, but let's listen to it again. And let me go through it real quick because there are so many points in here that you can tell that these dudes don't actually think about the things they're saying. They just they use these word tracks so they can go viral. I honestly believe that as a content creator, I don't use word tracks. That's not what I do, right? But I definitely can identify when other content creators are trying to use word tracks to go viral. And I feel like a lot of these videos and a lot of these clips, that's what's going on here.
Why are women hardwired to melt down a relationship, to sabotage a relationship?
Women don't, that's not what women are doing. Women aren't sabotaging relationships, but that's funny that you're framing it in that way. Men sabotage relationships all the time. Men self-sabotage. That is like a common theme with men. I don't think women are sabotaging or self-sabotaging relationships the majority of the time. What you deem to be sabotaging a relationship is her trying to get the man to be a better person. So I don't listen to what men say when they, try to like critique women from this perspective of like they're sabotaging the relationship. Because if a woman could be like, yeah, I just want you to like stop cheating. It's like, oh, here you go, sabotaging. We got a good thing going. I pay all the bills. Like, men are disgusting. So we don't listen to men around here when it comes to that.
Thing that attracted them to you as a man, from my experience, once you get in a relationship, those are the things that they want to change about you. Why did you want to be with me if I had all these characteristics and all these traits when we first met? But now those are the things you want to change, but you wouldn't have been attracted to me in the first place if I wasn't doing those things.
The most
Now, real quick, the things that he is describing, which he didn't say, he didn't actually say what the things were. They never tell you what the things were. Because what things, let's think about it though. What characteristics, what things do you think a woman is attracted to in the beginning of the relationship that she doesn't like when you guys start, when you get into the relationship, right? I can't think of anything. What I do think happens is, and this is like natural, it's like, duh. You meet a person, you don't really know who they are yet. So what are you attracted to? Most of the things you're attracted to are very surface level. They're very shallow. It's looks, it's charisma, it's, you know what I mean? It's whatever it is. And that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to the show. They're attracted to the performance. They're attracted to all the frilly things, right? Because that's all, I mean, that's not blaming the man or the woman. I'm not blaming either side. It's just a reality though, because how can you get to know a person? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you haven't gotten to know a person. So what else would you be attracted to? You know, I remember a long time ago, I bought a car, right? And I sold cars for a long time. I've driven almost every car you can think of. Like, I've driven so many different cars in my life. And so when I would go buy cars, I didn't really like, I didn't really care. Like, I was just like, a car is a car is a car. I became jaded, right? So to speak. So I remember one time I traded in a car that I had, and it was like it wasn't a high end car. The model though, the trim was really high. The model was actually lower. It was the same manufacturer. The trim was high. I remember the car. It was a Jetta Wolfs. It was a Wolfsburg edition Jetta. And if you go look it up, that's like one of the highest trims for that vehicle of that time. This was like 15 years ago. Anyways, so the Jetta was sick. It was like, it was low. It had leather. It was, you know what I'm saying? It had all the equipment that it could have at the time, and Bluetooth, blah, 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 blah. Traded it in, and I got like, and it was, when I bought it, it was pre-owned. So by the time I traded it in, it was probably like 5 years old-ish, but it was still like a really nice car. So I go trade it in. I needed a bigger car. I just had my first child. And I was like, y'all want to lease or whatever, because I'm not really sure, whatever. So I ended up getting a Passat, which is a higher model, right? But I got like a base model Passat. I traded in a fucking top tier level trim, top trim Jetta for a base model Passat, even though it was 5 years, and it came with shit that the other one, that even the other one didn't have, right? But it was missing out a lot of stuff. Long story short, I ended up did like a little spin around the block, test drove it, whatever. Fine, bought it that night, walked away. It was all good, whatever. We got the car, it served its purpose, whatever. I didn't realize I didn't like something about that car, and it really irked me because I used it a lot. So the vehicle didn't have power steering. Or the steering just wasn't nearly as responsive as the Jetta was, right? And it mattered because where I lived in a city. I lived in a really densely populated city, and parking was fucking terrible. And I always found myself having to parallel park. And with this other vehicle, it was so difficult to parallel park because the turning radius was so fucked up. I did not, when I went and bought it again, a car's a car. I didn't even think about that. I didn't realize that until after I purchased the vehicle. I didn't think to parallel park. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't think. Some people do that. Mind you, I've been on test drives and people do all that stuff. They do the things. I didn't know that. I learned that though from that process. I said, okay, next time I'm going to take more time. I'm going to pay attention. But I had already bought the car and I was stuck with it, right? Humans are a little bit different because obviously we're not necessarily stuck with a human being. We can leave them at any point in time. So I say all of that to say, human beings, men or women, we get with each other and we see it. Like I said, the vehicle, it had all the things I wanted. It was big enough. It had Bluetooth. It had power steering. I mean, it had power seats. It had the things that I thought, you know what I'm saying, like I needed, but it was missing a couple things I didn't even think of. And it happens all the time with us. We start dating people, and initially we're just like, oh, They're attractive, they're funny, they're charismatic, you know, and they seem to be patient. They seem to be honest. They seem to be genuine. These are all things that you just got to take at face value up front. But then once you get closer, now you can see the inconsistencies because you're spending more time with them. You're talking to them more. Their stories aren't adding up as much. The consistency wanes. Now you can see the chinks in the armor. It's not that she wants you to change everything about you. She just thought you had all of those things. She assumed you had all of those things. She assumed that. That's what happens. And when men say women want us to change, it's not even necessarily, I don't even like saying that. I think that doesn't really describe what's going on. They don't want you to change. They want you to get better. They want you to grow up, which essentially is a form of change. But I'm saying it's not like they're like a change to me is like you're consistent. Now they want you to be inconsistent, right? It's or they you like this, but they, you know, you like to golf, but they want you to start jogging with it. You know, that would be like a change, like an exchange even. But it's not that. It's like you lack patience. She wants you to be patient. And then men are trying to be like, why are they always trying to change? It's like, why wouldn't a person want to be with the person that was patient? And if she likes you, she's like, there's potential there. And she's just like, maybe if I bring it up to him and ask him, can he work on that? Then I can have the best of both worlds. I can have the person that I was initially attracted to and develop into the person that I need long term, right? That seems very logical to me.
Attractive thing a woman finds in a man is competency. But a competent man is a dangerous man. When a woman gets with a very competent man, she starts to feel insecure because she's like, oh, he could get other options. There might be a better girl than me out there. And
again, no. Women aren't threatened by competency in men. They're not threatened by that at all. That's a bold-faced lie. When does that happen? A competent man is a dangerous man. For who? More important, with a competent man, women love competent men. But what are we talking about? Are we saying that he's competent in work? That he can fix things? Yeah, they want a man like that. But is it too much to ask for to get a man that is competent and cares about her? Is it too much to ask for to get a man that is competent and has empathy? Is it too much to ask for to get a man that is competent and has integrity? Because they want both of those things combined. So even if I was to take that at face value, like women want competent men, okay, but that's not it though. Even if that's the number one thing, it's like 1A is also they want an honest man. They want a man with integrity. 1B is they want to, like, you're acting as if like competency is above all and then everything falls beneath that. Yeah, they want a competent man, but they also want a man that pays attention. They also want a man that shows up for them.
so their instincts kick in to try and neuter the man. It makes sense because women are going to raise children and they're going to be very vulnerable when they do that. So they do what's called nesting at homes as soon as they start getting
Word tracks is what I'm saying. Nesting, competency, none of these things. A woman nesting has nothing to do with a man, with a woman and a man in a relationship. That's not nesting. That's nothing to do with it. He's just yapping
into that feminine space. They started creating a home and decorations and getting ready for the baby and all those types of things. But they try to nest their man. All the things are making him powerful. All the things are about it. Him going to the gym, him hanging out with his buddies, him spending time at work. All of these.
Those things make you powerful. Hanging out. How does hanging out with your friends make you powerful? Going to the gym makes you physically stronger, but not more powerful over, like, as a human being. You're just physically stronger. It actually is proving to weaken men mentally. And also, never mind. We'll get to the next part.
Things that are making him attractive to begin with are now threats. She's going to be like, I don't like it when you go to the gym so much. And I don't like that guy.
Yeah. So listen, it's okay to go to the gym when you're 25 and you don't have kids. It's okay to go to the gym for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, like I used to do, right? It's not okay to go to the gym for 2.5 hours when that woman is with child, she's at home with the baby and you're at the gym for 2.5 hours. There's nothing wrong with adjusting your life. If you have new responsibilities that you didn't have prior to, that's not her trying to neuter you. What the fuck? That's her saying, hey, our life has changed. I need you to show up in this way. And yeah, maybe your friend is an asshole and he's not healthy. And there are plenty of times that you grow and your friends don't. Right? I don't have many single friends, but I have some friends, especially early on, that they were single and I was married, and it wasn't a healthy dynamic because they would want to go do single man shit. And it's like, I can't hang out with you, or they would be having single man conversations. I don't want to talk about that shit. I got a fucking family. That's boring. Or even men that had like girlfriends, and they weren't like, they were like girlfriends. Like I knew dudes that had girls, like girlfriends, and they weren't like living with them. They weren't like really committed to, they'd be talking about cheating. They'd be talking about playing the field. And I'm sitting here talking about like what school I should send my son to and like the special needs services that he needs and shit like that. Like we're just not having, the same. Maybe it might be time for us to kind of, distance ourselves from those people. Nothing is wrong with that. Women are constantly trying to help men develop and be better people. And men like him are trying to tell men like that's them trying to neuter you. It's not, dude. That's dumb. Women aren't trying to neuter you. They're just trying to help you understand that life changes and you must change with life. Now, if you listen to everything those dudes said and then you listen to what this dude is saying, I think this guy is onto something, and it kind of encapsulates what those dudes are what those dudes were saying. It kind of debunks it.
One thing that annoys a lot of guys when they hear women talk about the type of men that they want is that it leads to more confusion. Let me explain. These men hear women come online and say that they want a man who's kind, considerate, emotional, intelligent, and a lot of other traits that they perceive themselves to have, which puts them in this place where it's like, well, I have those traits, but yet I'm unchosen. So y'all are lying. And it's not that women are lying. It's just that the traits they're listing out are incomplete. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I always say there's two sides of attraction, spark and safety. Spark is anything that makes a woman desire you, right? Feel emotionally spiked. So sense of humor, good looks, dressing well, charisma, etc. Safety is anything that makes a woman feel like safe, comfortable, and like cared for. So emotional intelligence, kindness, financial stability. Now here's the thing. Most men only check one of those two boxes. So usually when a woman is describing this kind, gentle man that she wants, it's because she has a long history of dealing with men who only offered spark. Safety was the missing ingredient. Therefore, safety is what she is valuing. But she's assuming that you still offer spark, which is why the men who do have those qualities, they're emotionally intelligent, they're kind, they're considerate, all of that, they're checking that box of safety, are left clueless and not understanding the situation, because the unspoken rule is that while these qualities and traits are important, we're assuming you're also bringing spark to the table. But this is a good thing, and I'll tell you why. Again, the vast majority of men only check one of those two boxes, which means if you learn how to check both, you will stand out in the sea of one-dimensional men out there. And learning how to do this is a lot more simple than you may think. I've helped a ton of men learn how to demonstrate a lot of spark and then easily stand out from all of their competition.
What he was saying to me resonates so much, and I respect the hell out of him for saying that. I think that he hit the nail on the head when he talked about spark and safety. I think that was beautiful. That was a nice way of a great way of putting it. Those men in the other video were describing when men have the spark, right? That's what you initially are attracted to. It's the spark. We all are attracted to the spark, men and women, right? But they also need for you to provide safety. And that's all that other stuff. That's the shit that'll keep her there. That's the stuff that keeps relationships going and thriving and leads to happiness and success. The spark is just the thing that gets your foot in the door, right? But Also, you must maintain the spark for the duration of the relationship. That's the thing the dudes were like being aloof about. It was like, oh, yeah, you know, all those things she's attracted to you in the beginning, she tries to change. No, she doesn't try to. You must maintain the spark throughout the duration of the relationship. You must maintain that spark. And also the spark changes. Like what my wife is attracted to me, why she's attracted to me now is way different than why she was attracted to me initially. Like again, the spark is just a thing that gets you through the door. The safety is a thing that ultimately leads to the most success, and it's the thing that she is attracted to the most. Right? If you ask my wife what like she's still attracted to my humor. She's, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, she's attracted to all that stuff, but she's attracted to me for so many other things that she didn't know I possessed, because she wouldn't have. How could she have known? How could she have known in the first 6 months? How could she have known before we had kids? How could she have known before we got married? How could she have known before I started becoming successful, you know what I mean, financially, how I would react, and how, you know what I mean? She didn't know. But now here we are. Here we are. So now she's like, damn, I love that about him. Damn, I find that to be attractive. The attraction grows. It should grow the longer you guys are together. It shouldn't be the same. And you shouldn't be attracted to the same fucking 3 things you were attracted to in the beginning. In the end, you should be attracted to 300 things about the person, because we should be building. But those other men, they're trying to lead men astray and doing that whole like, oh, women just don't know what they want, and I don't understand. They're so confusing. They're really not. They're really not. That's why I appreciate this young brother right here, because everything he said was spot on, and he put the onus on men to be better as opposed to putting the onus on women to change how they view men. And that's what we need to be doing.